Hello, folks, and welcome to the November Good People Power Talk. And feel free to turn your camera on because we're in a meeting, not a webinar, so you can turn your camera on and join us if you like. I am Meg Laporte hi Kelly, with Team Good People. And we're very excited today to have with us Valerie, is it La Rochelle with
Rochelle.
Eugeria. And what's that, La Rochelle?
Mm-hmm.
Did I pronounce it correctly? Great. And so just a couple of housekeeping. So we appreciate you having your camera on so we can see everybody and have an interactive discussion. And if you could just keep your your audio on mute while you're watching, and then Valerie's going to present, and then we're going to have a Q&A. But first, I'm going to introduce Kane Marshall, who is the CEO and founder, president and founder of Good People.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see everybody. Might just give it a couple seconds here for a few more people to log in. I see people dropping in. It's nice to see everybody. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Jason. Nice to see everybody. Camille, hello. All right, everybody, we're going to kick this thing off. So welcome to Power Talks, where good people connect. It's my special privilege and honor to have the winner of our second edition of the Transformation Tank. The winner this year in September at the Good People Retreat was Eugeria. And I believe this is our first international installment of the Power Talks. I believe Valerie is coming to us from Canada. And with that being said, I would like to introduce Valerie Larochelle with Eugeria. And hello, Valerie, please take it from here.
Excellent. So hello, everyone. Good late afternoon, late morning, late afternoon. I'm very excited to be here. Yes, I am right now currently in Canada. So I know it's Thanksgiving very soon, and we'll start it up. We have probably a session of 20 to 30 minutes today. And if at any point, I won't be able to see everyone while I present, but if at any point you have any questions, do not hesitate to just either unmute, tell Kane or Meg, and you guys can let me know, and I will answer any questions. So let me share my screen. I'll start with that. And can you see it well?
Yes.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Perfect. So today we'll talk about Idem, which was the company and the idea that we did pitch in the Power Talk, and sorry, not the Power Talk, but the pitch competition last September. Let me back up just a little bit because there's kind of two companies that I'm associated with. So first we have Eugeria and then we have Idem. So I'll introduce a little bit where we're from, who we are, why we created those two brands, and I'll start with Eugeria. So our mandate at Eugeria is to innovate, to simplify the daily life of people living with dementia and their family caregivers and their professional caregivers also. We founded the company in 2017, so myself and Dr. Kwok Nguyen. So Kwok is a geriatrician, so he's a doctor, he's with us 10 hours a week, and he's a medical expert. And myself, I had a bit more of a business background before starting Eugeria with 3 grandparents that have cognitive impairment. So I am very familiar with vascular dementia and Alzheimer in particular. Eugeria, the name comes from Greek. It means aging well. And I'll say after why Idem is a Latin word. There's another meaning behind Idem, but Eugeria means aging well. And that's the mission we have given ourselves, was to find innovative product around the world and bring them to North America. So in the Eugeria side of our business, our main focus is to select product according to 4 criteria. So we make sure that they are a high quality product, that are effective. What effective means to us is that it does answer an unmet needs in dementia. So either a behavior, an expression of unmet needs, and that the product really have an impact on daily living and quality of life. We make sure that our products are dignifying and backed by science. So this is the more like Eugeria side of our business. We have vetted product with a technical team that supports a really great customer service, customer care, and information on our website, our blog, webinar, things like this, where we really help family caregivers and healthcare professional and senior living communities. Quickly, because we'll talk about Idem, and Idem is available on Eugeria right now and will be available on other platforms starting next year. We do have a website where family caregiver can go and purchase different products. So let me go into Idem and why we started this new company, and this is what we pitched at the last pitch competition, is that when we looked at dementia care and people living with dementia, there's different stages that requires different level of care and different product that can help compensate daily life. So the earlier stage, the mid stage, all the way to the later stage, and people can be at home or in the context of either long-term care towards the end, and at any point in that spectrum, they can be living in senior living. What we know about this disease, and maybe that's where Idem came into play, is that in Eugeria now we know what exists on the market, but we also know what doesn't exist. So our team is receiving calls every day asking for specific solution or with specific needs where we don't have a solution for people. And this is why we created Idem. So let's look at the earlier stages of dementia. And for senior living providers that are on the call or watching this video, for senior living, in independent living and assisted living, you may have residents that are starting to experience a cognitive impairment. And the thing with this disease is that it's not one day you cannot live by yourself anymore, and it's not black or white. Like there's better days and there's day of higher confusion. And why do people initially lose their autonomy? It's because they struggle to situate themselves in time. So what we mean by that is that we are experienced at Eugeria, and we have people on our team that have been working as in adult daycare center, for example. Like, we know that because people struggle to know what time it is and what day it is, many things may happen around the social aspect of life, the medication, the nutrition, and other activities of daily living. So I'll take social as an example. We know for a fact that people, when they start experiencing memory loss or cognitive impairment, they do not want to be wrong, and they do not want to seem confused in front of other people. So often, if they're not sure if an activity is on Tuesday or Wednesday, instead of showing up on the wrong day, they just end up not going. And that's where social isolation can really start happening. You can have the same thing with medication. There may be good days where the person takes their med, and then days where higher confusion, where they're not sure if they already took it. They may take a double dose, they may forget. We have the same thing in nutrition. For senior living operators, I'm sure you have seen it over and over again. So someone that was very independent, and then all of a sudden they start coming to dinner a bit earlier, and then a bit earlier, and then they're there an hour and a half before, and sometimes they're not there. And that queue of time is something that we sometimes take for granted. I'm sure I have people around me that retired. When they retired, they lose also time of, is it a Wednesday or Tuesday, and things like this. But it's the ability to situate yourself in time. It can be very high anxiety driven, and that's where Idem comes from. So I'll introduce what it is a bit. What we could find with Eugeria when people were describing those situations of struggling to situate yourself in time, and therefore impact on medication and nutrition and activities of daily living, is that everything we could find was focusing on monitoring. So it was a tech solution that says, your parent have not taken their medication, or your parent have not eaten today. But it wasn't anything to help the elderly themselves to regain control of their autonomy and to be able to continue to perform some tasks where the only thing that they're missing is the the queue of time around what time it is and what activity needs to come next. And this is what we could find on the market, is that everything was monitoring, nothing was compensating. So that's why we created a new company. And basically our newest company is called Idem. And this is where we're going to create products, so do R&D around different unmet needs in dementia, and in particular in the early stages of dementia. So for senior living providers, we are very interested in partnering with you to see how can we keep people longer in independent living, longer in assisted living, and really add months before a transition is needed in another level of care. So the mission of Idem is to create solutions to solve the combined and accentuated social challenge, the societal challenge of aging and the scarcity of worker in the healthcare industry. And the name Idem comes from Latin. It means the same, which is what we're trying to create, product that for the elderly, for the older adult is the same. But Idem also stands for Intelligence Device for Dementia, so intelligence dementia. So let me jump quickly around what Idem is. So this is where our co-founder Kwok is working most of his time, is in an innovation lab where we have 45 caregivers, 30 families of testers, and 15 healthcare workers, mostly occupational therapists at this point, that are working like with us in the innovation lab at testing different iteration of our product. The first product we're releasing on the market is, and this is what I pitched last September, is the Idem clock. I'll talk later about where we're going, but right now the first product we have is the Idem clock. So I was talking about how situating yourself in time may be a challenge at the earlier stages of the disease. So there's been clock on the market for many years now. First there was a day clock, then Alzheimer clock on Amazon. You can find many on the Eugeria website too. But every clock we could find is not connected to 3G or Wi-Fi. So for family caregivers that may be living far away from their loved one, or may have be in the sandwich generation of very demanding day-to-day life, there was feature that people were asking for. They were asking, what if there's a change in the schedule? What if there's new medication? Like this one great example in my own family, someone in my family had to take antibiotic for 10 days. So every brothers and sister were calling their mom every morning at 6 a.m. because they had no way of interacting remotely with their mom to help her take her medication. Customization of alerts with specific, information. Dinner is served in the lobby on the first floor, or is something specific to that person, where that person live and what they're going through. And then social isolation from other technology. So not everyone has an iPad. And when cognitive impairments start happening, people may have had an iPad, but then cannot use it anymore. So those were the features that we were asked for. And this is where we created the Idem Smart Clock as our first products. So the Idem Smart Clock is a mobile app managing communication and interaction for everyone in the family that want to have access to this app. And then for the older adult living with dementia, at the earlier stages, it's a clock that they can put on a stand or they can put on the wall. And it's really designed to be easy to read, to always situate in time what's the next action, what's the next event, or what's happening. And there's 4 features that we have developed. So the 4 types of communication we have. So the first one is events, notes, reminder, and messages. And I will show you a little bit more. So the first one is events. So as I've been talking about, ability to situate yourself in time, to know that there's an appointment coming, maybe a dentist appointment, an appointment at the hospital. We have heard over and over again caregivers saying, I was picking up my mom for an appointment. She forgot it was today. She hadn't showered. She wasn't ready. She was not in her room. So this is a way to put it. It stays there for the 3 hours all the way until the event does happen, to help the person cue around that appointment is today and it's in 3 hours. The second one is the note. The note is very interesting because that was the tester in the lab. It was created like this. So this is for people, especially spouses, that one may have a cognitive decline and the other one doesn't. We had a situation where people will say, I go to the grocery and my husband gets really anxious. He looks for me in the house. He doesn't know where I am. So people were asking us for a feature where they could put a sticky note really there that stays the whole day or for a predetermined period of time to help the person. We've seen people say, go to channel 20, your show is starting at this time, and it's a note the whole day so that the whole day the parents know that today is the day of their show, for example. And then we have reminders. Reminders are really around medication, but it can be about anything else of activities of daily living. And the person have a capacity on this to press understood to confirm that they have read it. And then we have messages also where you can send like mostly like love messages, like have a great day, happy birthday. You can send pictures and things like this, and the person have to press read, and then they can see the message. Our feedback so far, so it's been very interesting because we knew we were addressing medication, but so far we have strong evidence that it really helps for medication. So things like her medication situation went from a semi-chaotic situation to semi-autonomous. It's night and day. Clocks has fixed 100% of the medication issue. We have things around meal reminder, and then also things around, yeah, that's it, like 2-3 times, 2-3 calls a day became 2-3 calls a week. And this one is interesting because it's a caregiver that's a high school teacher that told us that. And what I told my team is, yes, we did help her parent, her dad in that situation, but we also help a high school teacher be more present during the day instead of being called many times a day. So it's been very great so far. We commercialized it in the last 12 months. It's being launched in the US. So first we did it in Canada. It's being launched in the US since 3 weeks now. And we're really excited about the impact we had on family caregivers in particular, but also on elderly living with dementia in the ability to situate themselves in time. Impact so far, so we have 500 caregivers, 225 seniors that are using it. We have 3 pilot projects going on. One is in a hospital setting, trying to see if those clocks could help in a geriatric unit in a hospital. We're doing a pilot with home care. So if you guys have a home care agency, it's something that we're very interested in, especially around medication. And we're doing a pilot project also in senior housing for the stages more of a memory care neighborhood. So maybe a little bit later than a lot of the example I described so far. We have some case study also of people that have saved in terms of purchasing more services, and same thing for senior living. If you are offering a medication services, but you're lacking sometimes the staff to do it, the clock can be a good bridge. That's what we're finding out until the service is needed, because sometimes just the reminder is enough. So I may pause here before, like the last 2 slides, I was just wrapping it up, and maybe open the floor to any questions that you may have around Idem. Maybe I can say very quickly to finish on Idem. So this is our first step. Our second step is that we are looking at doing a pill dispenser that's connected with a sensor, and we are looking at integrated into software that senior living providers are already using, especially around activities that are going on, so that the clock can help people that are living with a cognitive impairment participate in more activities in the context of senior living. So those are kind of on the roadmap ahead, but as of right now, the clock is commercialized and families can buy it for their loved one.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the display, and I'm sorry, maybe you mentioned it, but the display of the clock is actually, are we supposed to take that to be an iPad?
Yeah, so it's similar to a tablet, exactly, and it comes like with a stand. So if people decide to put it on, for example, at the kitchen area, or if they want it on the wall, also we have a wall support.
Okay, so part of it is you get the
that you
actual
can stick on the
physical.
wall, and then it's kind of a tablet side.
Okay.
Yes. So sorry. Okay.
The
Very,
actual
very good
physical
question.
clock part of it. I'm sorry, I was just,
Yes.
okay. And
No,
there's
that's
the
a
app that goes with it. Okay.
Yeah, Meg, so it's a great question. It's something that we have debated quite a bit. Do we do it as an app that you can install on any tablet, or do we pick the tablet, pick the support that goes around it, and commercialize like really a tablet? And knowing caregivers and family caregivers and senior living also operators, having seen how stretched those people are, we took a strategic decision to be selling the hardware and the software so that we won't run into, oh, it's not compatible with this iPad. I went to my mom's house, and then when I tried to download it, something, like anything that can be a roadblock to just like, we want it to be as easy as possible. The way it pairs with your phone, it's extremely easy. You could even, if you wanted, have it delivered to your parent, and our team can help kind of set that up. So like, it's a strategic decision we took to do the hardware, the stand, things like this, and not just sell an app and then have the caregiver having to try to figure out all of this. We make it as easy as possible.
Great. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Sorry if this was already answered. What are the dimensions of the tablet? What's the screen size?
Oh, very good question. I don't think maybe someone from my team can put it in the chat. It's very similar to an iPad in terms of the dimension.
And you said it comes with a stand, right?
Yes, so that's it. It comes with a stand. You can also buy the wall stand. This is why also we're doing pilot projects. So in the context of skilled nursing, which may be similar sometimes to the hospital geriatric ward we're going to do it in, we're looking at maybe different form factor so that it answer the needs in a hospital setting. So right now, like that kind of, that's it, like which stand for which residential versus hospital versus skill, like this is all something we're working on. But at the moment, the way it is currently commercialized, it comes with a stand, and then if you want to have a wall stand also, that's available also.
So I have a question, Valerie. I just typed it in the chat, but if a community decides to work with you, is there a training program or a process, and what type of support system or call-in system do you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now that's it. So we're looking at, in those pilots, any community that would like, and I will say like this is innovation, so it's something that we're starting. So I had different conversation with senior living provider in the last couple of weeks, where one of the things that's going to be very interesting is it's not like every room needs to have it. Like we think this. It's not everyone who requires it. It's people that are losing their autonomy, and it has to do with their clinician. So if senior living are interested, right now families can buy it. Senior living also, we have a few clients that are in the B2B space at the moment, where they have equip a few rooms with it. But anyone that will be interested in doing a pilot project on the medication, so anyone that is offering currently to send someone in the room a few times a day for the medication and would like to partner with us in a pilot where we introduce that new pill dispenser combined with the clock, that's something we're really interested in. Apart from that, we do have customer care, customer service, we call them customer care. That's really, really good both on Eugeria and on Idem. So if it's a family member, for example, that's buying it, we can definitely help them at any step of the way.
Do we have anybody on the call by chance that has used or seen anything similar, or that works in an area that that would be interested in piloting this, just by chance?
Well, I have another question. I'm not 100% sure whether or not we'd be a fit for a pilot. We have one level of assisted living right now that does see some dementia, but I don't know that we have a lot of people that are actually self-administering medications, and it feels like that's partly what this is geared toward. But we have a skilled nursing portion of our facility right now that's actually converting to an assisted living as well. So we're going to have two. And I can see some uses for it here because there's a lot of memory care issues, and for people to be able to get those reminders on the screen that show them that they have an appointment or whatever it may be, that I can see value in that. But I actually wanted to ask a question on that slide. And again, I'm sorry if this was already answered, but on your
No, no worries. And sorry, I took it out because I want to see as
yeah, it's
people
okay.
talking.
But on your case studies,
Yes.
there was $600 saved on medication services in the 2,200. What's behind those numbers exactly? Like, is $600 like for one person, or and what's the 2,200 apply to?
So it was on individuals, and those are the family members that said because of the clock, I was able to not take the service for an extra 4 months or 6 months, and they told us like I could keep my mom independent for 6 more months because the clock. So we have received feedback saying even my like that's it. So one of the things we have seen over the year is people don't want to mess up their medication. Like it's not a human needs where you say, I don't want to take my medication right. Like people wants to take it right. And then they don't have the tool to do it. And then it creates the like sometimes even more falls because they take double dose. So in that context, that particular caregivers told us her mom was not taking her medication right, but all she needed was that cue. So now every day she sits in front of the clock, she waits for the clock to ring, and then she takes her medication because she knows the reminder is coming. And because of that, they didn't have to move her or they didn't have to pay extra services for those couple of months in her room. And just quickly, Brad, also on the skilled nursing that's being transformed, one of the things we're even trying to see in the hospital is around delirium. So like there's hypothesis that delirium can be triggered also when you don't know where you are, when you're confused, when you don't know what time. So sometime in a hospital setting, they do even the calendar, and every day they put an X on the calendar, which is like there's better way probably to do it. But that's one of our hypotheses we're trying to test also there. So yeah, like I think that skilled nursing transforming assisted living, that could be very interesting. Where we want really to see like, so we know there's impact for family members that want to help their loved one. Now we want to understand if situating yourself in time can have a broader impact on regaining control of your day-to-day and reducing anxiety.
Now that I think about it more, we also have independent living here, but we have our own fee-for-service, non-Medicare home health team that helps with things like medication administration. I'm wondering if we might actually have an opportunity for you here to do a case study with our community in a different way,
Yeah.
probably.
And that's where we want to go, Brad. Like at first it was developed for at home, but like that's where we want to go, because if at the end of the day it helps your team, and instead of going 3 times per day, you have to go 2 times per day, but you're able to pay to charge the service fee to the family or reduce your service fee versus another community. That's where we think there's a lot of value. So I was saying we have 3 pilot projects right now. The one that's at home is we're trying to see if we can reduce from 3 visits per day to 2 visits per day with the same level of accuracy of the medication being taken. So definitely that's something we could be interested in.
So,
Excellent. Well, we said 30 minutes and we're right on 3:29.
no, Valerie, I was going to say that I would think that that especially for senior living, such as assisted living, even independent living folks, I would think that this would be, I mean, probably more assisted living, more a very good marketing add-on or marketing tool as well, because if the provider offers it, and then it helps that person stay, and that, and it helps reduce anxiety for the family members too, who are worried about what's happening, and helps delay their entry, like you said, into another level or some level of care, then I would think that would be a good
Absolutely. Like the easiest, like the easiest example I can even think there, is for the family members, like the amount of time it happens that the phone is not correctly, like put down. So like we have had family member just use the clock and say, your phone is not put down, I'm trying to call you, or even like that's it, instead of calling the senior living provider and say, can you go to my mom's room? I think her phone is like, it's just things like this of being able remotely to help that person. So this is like the clock right now. But if I can talk about our vision in Idem and where we want to go, is we really want to move away from monitoring and really compensate. And what we mean by that is that because we know there's good days and more confused days, we want to be able to do nothing on the good days. If everything happened and people took their med and they ate that day and everything is great, nothing happened. But on a day where there's higher confusion, we want to break down the task and help the person take their med, for example. And this is towards where we want to go. And the other quick example also, we would like to do a feature that is weather, to help the person know how to dress for that day, because that's another thing also, when like if you only don't go outside because you don't know how to dress and you don't know what's the weather and you get confused and you don't want to look stupid coming out of your apartment, like that is a sad way why people self-isolate at the beginning of the disease. So even like that's it. So a weather component is something that we're very interested in working on. Even imagining that one day, if there's a heat wave in an area, we could send reminder to hydrate on that day, but not do it on every other day. So those are things that we're looking at potentially doing.
That's great. It's something that is so simple and yet pretty brilliant, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways, it's right. It's not you don't have a lot of attachments, or you don't have the connectivity that some people might think, where you could also call somebody, but it's just a very simple clock that does the reminding and is there and is always there, right? So,
and it's something we take for granted. But if right now you tell me, Val, you don't know what time it is and you don't know if you're supposed to be somewhere, of course I'm going to be anxious. Of course I'm going to be like, am I missing something? Is someone waiting for me? I'm going so that anxiety has to do really around situating yourself in time. And it's one of the first thing, unfortunately, with that disease. Yeah.
it looks like we have a lot of folks on. There must be somebody else with another question. I have more if there aren't.
Okay, I got another question. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, guys. So I'm sitting here with my director of nurses as well.
Oh, hello. Hi.
And she used to work in that home health upstairs. And I'm just thinking, if they are having memory issues and they get a reminder to take the medication, and fantastic, they take it, is there a way for them to remember that they took it?
Yeah, so very interesting, because the pilot we're doing right now with the pill dispenser will have to do with this. I know, like, I will talk personally about my grandpa. Very anxiety driven for him to walk past his pill dispenser and not know, should I take something? So we're looking on the pill dispenser to do something to reassure the person that they took it, to reassure them that this task was done. Or so it's something we're working on right now as we are doing the R&D on the pill dispenser.
Could the clock and the pill dispenser work together in a way that what about just like a message on the clock that says you took your pills?
Absolutely.
Or,
so you're
right.
So exactly. So the pill dispenser has sensor on it that's paired with the clock, and absolutely right. Yeah. There's a pill dispenser also that we already have on Eugeria called the Med Alert. It's 28 dose in a circle, and it turns, and it only gives the right dose at the right moment. So if you don't take it, it continues to turn. So you cannot take a double dose. So that already exists. It's called the Med Alert, and it comes with a key, so it can even be locked. So that's things that we're trying to integrate, but with a sensor and things like this. But that pill dispenser, we already have many clients that are on the Eugeria platform that are purchasing it and having great success with it.
I should just leave myself unmuted. So my DON was just mentioning, because we have that home health team that does provide some oversight and we help with the residents in independent living, is there some sort of like a master account potentially that all that information could feed into and we could see?
Yeah, so this is exactly what we're developing with those 3 pilots. Absolutely right. So we thought, let's go B2C first, because we are already selling that clock to family members and people are asking us for those features. But with those 3 pilot project, and we will love to have a 4th one, we are creating that kind of central account.
Okay.
And that's why also like we are interested in working with communities, because if you're already using a software where the information is already in that software, information being like maybe your activity or when there's a concert, where is the concert, things like this. We're interested also in understanding what is that, that's a backend where the information is, so that we don't duplicate any kind of work. Excellent. Well, Brad, I may ask Kane or Meg for your information so I can connect with you after the call. But yeah, like we're very excited also if at any point you have family members that are looking for that's it, everyday tools to help their loved one. Like we have adapted phone, adapted TV controller, like the TV controller is a great example where the staff has to intervene, the family members has to intervene, and there's a quick way to fix it, a very cheap way, it's $30. So we have like adapted, that's it, like phone, remote, clock, and things like this on Eugeria. Thank you, Carrie.
UV resort.
Any last second questions from anybody?
Oh, Brad, I see, Brad, you just dropped your information in the
Excellent.
chat.
Thank
so
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for chiming in. All the great questions, Brad, and your DON there. Nice to meet her as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Kelly, I think this is the
You
first time I've seen you and not heard from you. Do you have a question? You have to have a question, Kelly.
Maybe
I
just
don't really like. I know Valerie and her team so well that I'm like, this all makes sense. Great.
Thank
I
you,
know
Kelly.
I'm not one to be quiet very much. I'm like,
It's nice to see everybody. Thank you, Valerie. Great job.
Well, thanks
Great job.
to everyone and happy Thanksgiving.
happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Jesse. Happy
Everyone.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.